Okay, I'm going to show you a brief demonstration of how we can use Informatica Cloud to automate the task workflow for our business development managers, specifically task workflow around lead follow-up. So if I go to my Salesforce home screen, right here, I see a list of the tasks that I'm assigned with today's due date. And here's one that's not started. It's a task to follow up with Matt Cassie. So if I click that task and open it up, the task loads. We can see the task status is not started. If I go over to the lead itself, I'll just open that up in a separate tab so we can take a look. If I go look at that, we'll see the lead status is open, the call counter is at 0, and we don't have any activity history. The only thing we have is this open task to follow up. So coming back to the task now, you'll notice that this ScreenFlow guide from Informatica Cloud automatically loaded up. And let's say I call the person and then I leave voicemail, which is probably the most common thing. If I click left voicemail, a whole bunch of things are done automatically for me in the background. The call counter was incremented, the lead status was changed to contacted, the task status got changed to in progress, and now it's saying, hey, let's move the due date for this task out by 3 days, so we'll follow up again in 3 days. In this case, I set it to 3 business days, but from the workflow, it looked like that's what you wanted. We could also make it 3 actual days. The BDM, the Business Development Manager, could come in and automatically change things, but you can see it defaults to 3 business days out. So we'll just leave that alone. And when I click Continue, it gives me one more option. It says I can send a follow-up email message, which is always a good idea. I could send a free-form message, so I could come in and I could make edits to this if I wanted to, and add a personal note. But I'm going to go back. I'm going to use a template from Salesforce. When I click that, I get a list of all of the templates. I can search my templates, and I have a follow-up voicemail to lead. And I click that template. That goes off and sends email. And now I'm all done. So that showed you how we can automate a bunch of steps for the BDM. Notice that the call counter on the lead is now 1. The lead status is contacted. If I come down, I see in the activity history that I left voicemail on the 5th. I also sent email using a template, and I've got that open task with a due date of March 9th. Now let's open that task again. Let's say it's the 9th now, and I call the person again. And again, I leave voicemail. So again, a bunch of things happen in the background automatically. The call counter gets incremented. This time we'll set a due date of March 11th. We're updating the due date on this task. This time I'll skip sending email, and when we come back to the call counter is now up to 2, and we've got more activity history. We've got another note, voicemail, and this task is moved out to March 11th. All right, let's go in and click this again. And this time we're going to say we do make contact. So good news. We call Matt. He picks up. His main interest is cleaning account data in Salesforce and looking at multiple hierarchies. And the next step is send data sheet on our great customer 360 product and set follow-up date or set up follow-up meeting. All right, so that's going to go into the activity history. We've logged the notes from the call. And now, again, we could send an email. So I'm going to send an email from a template. Specifically, I'm going to look for something about CC360, our Cloud Customer 360 product. There's the data sheet, so I can send that. And now it says, hey, congrats, your prospecting efforts have paid off. Specify your level of interest. Let's say you had high interest. The BDM workflow says for somebody with high interest, we should set a follow-up date to 1 week from today. Again, we could modify that to make it fall on the 14th, so it's not on a weekend. And then I had a placeholder here with a FedEx truck, because it's a hot lead. We want to stress there's a sense of urgency. We could add whatever other steps or actions here would make sense in the BDM workflow. But when that finishes off, again, I'll close this. And now we're going to see in the activity history, the initial task, the task for initial contact has now been completed. That's no longer open. and we've got a new task to follow up on a lead with high interest set for the 14th. So again, just showing how you can automate a lot of the grunt work of managing tasks within the BDM workflow. Let's do one more thing. Let's go to one other lead. Let's say we go back to our home screen, and we've got this lead for Rob Smith that's in progress. Let's go take a look at that. In fact, if we look at Rob Smith's lead, you're going to notice the call counter is already at 6. We've already tried him 6 times. You see we have a whole bunch of activity history already there. So this time, if I run that task for Rob Smith, if I say I left voicemail one more time, now it's going to detect that we've already called 6 times. This is the 7th time. In the BDM workflow, we say if you've made 7 touches with no contact, you do one of two things. You either disposition the lead entirely or you set it to a nurturing flow. And that's determined by whether or not the lead fits an Informatica buyer. So if the Informatica buyer fits any of these buyer personas, then we want to set a nurturing task. Otherwise, we want to just close it out. By the way, we can provide a link right on the screen that would take you to more information about whether or not they fit the persona. So you have plenty of screen real estate here. This is a full HTML screen, but you can also provide a link for more info. So let's say, yes, he does fit the persona. So now we set a task out for 6 weeks from now. We click continue. This will create the nurturing task in the flow. We're all done. And now when we take a look at the lead, you can see the call counter is at 7. We've closed out the initial task. It's way down in the list. And we've got a nurturing follow-up for 6 weeks from now. All of the workflow that I've shown you, all that task handling was set up in our Visual Designer, which is really easy both to understand and follow and also to modify. Here was the left voicemail path where we logged the call, set the task to in progress, set the call counter. Then we we set the new due date for the task, set the lead status to contacted, offered to send email. For the first contact made flow, which of course is what we all want to get to, that went up this way. We logged notes from the call. We offered to send email, and then based on the level of interest, we took follow-up from there. So very easy to modify this based on what the BDM team wants, but hopefully you can see how this would very easily automate a lot of the task grunt work that the BDMs will do under the new workflow. Thanks for taking a look.